This is a very important one for those of you who are wondering exactly what's going on in the world. Well, the TV show Westworld breaks it down pretty well. Now, that's a show that's filled with predictive programming. It's a show like Stranger Things almost. I mean, not the same type of show, but a show where it's really just out in the open of what they're doing openly. They call it different things here in this realm that we live in, like CERN and Stranger Things with them going to the upside down and tearing through the veil. And in Westworld, the stuff we see with artificial intelligence and what's going on in today's world, they are showing you exactly what's going on with this outbreak that's occurring right now and getting a certain something into your body and black goo. It is so unbelievably obvious what they're showing you. And people go, well, why would they do that? Well, because nobody's watching it thinking that what they're seeing is actually going on. And then when they see someone like me breaking it down, they're like, look at this crazy person. He's thinking that what's going on in this show is actually going on. And he's correlating the two like a crazy person because they don't think. They don't realize or understand how the occult operates. They don't realize that these shows are spells that are being cast on these people. They reveal themselves to everyone. This is a part of universal law. They reveal everything. They show everything. They're tricky about how they do it. They use fiction, and they tell you that it's not real, but it's real, and then everything that we're told is real in the news is not real. Everything is inverted. That goes back to Aleister Crowley's teachings. Everything is in reverse, pretty much, of what we see it as. Westworld is a show, and I'm going to show you each clip, and you're going to be pretty surprised, I think, because it's so in our faces, is a show that is about transhumanism. So rich people go to, a wild, wild west place out in the middle of nowhere where, they pay a lot of money to go, where humans, which are transhumans, so they're robot people, but they look like real people, are on running on a simulation. They're, it looks real and they can do whatever they want. So they go there, they can commit murder. They can have sex with whoever they want. They can do whatever they want in this town, to these transhuman / robots. So they go there and they just abuse the robots. So the show plays on, in the beginning of the show, on how humans are wicked and evil and disgusting. And the robots then become self-aware, and they realize this, and the humans are actually depicted as the bad people in the show, which is sick, but this is what this is turning into, this world. So as the show progresses, the artificial intelligence, the transhuman, becomes alive, and they start, becoming self-aware and realizing what's going on, yada, yada, yada. Cut to where they are now on the show. Here, this is where I'll start. So they're playing around with this thing that, it's called black goo. They even call it black goo in the show. Now, they need to get and want to get the black goo inside of people's bodies. Why? Because the black goo will control people. They'll be able to control them, as I'll show you as we move along. But let's start here. So instead of using, something like a syringe, they use flies to show the transition of how they get the black goo inside of human beings' bodies. They put it inside of flies. I'm surprised they didn't use mosquitoes, but they put it inside of flies, and then these flies go inside of humans, and then these humans become quote-unquote possessed. Take a look.
That's some kind of a parasite. Black goo look familiar. They're infecting the flies with it. What was that? What? You can't hear it. I don't hear anything. Perhaps it's not at a frequency you can hear.
Okay, so they have to get the goo inside of people. Do you see where this is going? And again, the flies represent a syringe. The goo is what they want to get in you. Okay? So they're getting the goo inside of people. Why? Because they want to have programmable people. The flies are representing programmable matter, right? The black goo is going inside the flies. The flies are taking out a mind of their, a controlled mind, a hive mind, so to speak. So these flies now go inside of people. But what's going to control them? Oh, there's this huge tower that makes sound. It almost looks like, a 5G tower. And it makes a sound that only people who are hosts or who have this inside of them can hear from, because if they don't have it inside of them, they're not getting the frequencies, as you'll see here, and it's telling people to off themselves.
The sound is coming from this device.
The sound is somehow controlling them. Are they hosts?
So now you see the people who have this inside of them, okay, are being controlled from this tower, this 5G like tower. And then they go on to talk about how everybody is going to be under control, how the artificial intelligence wanted to pass their disease, their parasite onto people so they can control people. Does this sound familiar? A parasite, a disease, right? Pass it on to people, get it into people so that they be able to control people and control their minds.
What did she do to me? I'm going to do to all of your kind. I made you my pet. Soon, it won't matter where they run. Everyone will be under my control. This was always about you. Spreading your disease. We'll become a carrier. I prefer the term host. Welcome to the super spreader event of the century.
So then as the show wraps up here, the episodes wrap up, the few episodes that this is mentioned in, the most recent ones, we get the host here talking about, people being hosts for it, and then how some adults are able to fight it, but children can't, which is interesting because there's a real big push for children to have this, and how children are going to be the ones who push this forward, which is something I've been talking about, the face of the New World Order. They flat out pretty much tell you the kids will be the face of the New World Order. This is why you see Greta Thunberg and all these kids being empowered because they're clueless and they're just molding their minds instead of molding their minds with fake science and all this other stuff. Like they're molding their minds with fake lies about what the world is, but they're also empowering young kids. But so empowering these kids who are clueless, they're empowering stupidity. And this is obviously all done by design. And these children who are just completely under mind control now that we see with climate change, they don't realize what the carbon footprint's about and what they're actually trying to do to humanity. They literally think that they're going to burn into ashes because the world is going to burn around them from heat. I mean, just the ridiculous crap that they believe. They don't understand anything about a new world order because they've been programmed to dismiss anything they hear from people like us as disinformation, as crazy lunatics, as tinfoil hat wearers. So listen to this scene where they flat out pretty much tell you that they need children. Children will be who they control and who they mold.
The parasite worked on adults initially, but there was always some resistance. At a certain age, your brains become more rigid. Fortunately, that's not the case with children. The parasite growing in perfect symbiosis with their minds.
So they tell you that, and then we get to the point where this is now unleashed upon the world. This is the reality we're in now, where this has been unleashed upon the world because people are now all carrying this black goo inside their bodies, okay? And they're all being connected and run through this giant tower. You see where this is going? And this giant tower we've seen throughout these clips already makes the sound. It gives the command to the subconscious mind, thus controlling the people. Well, it's frightening.
Do you understand now, Caleb? Welcome to my world.
There's a beauty to this world, an order. Grand design. We made sure of that. It's a dream for so long, and we finally made it real. The world is ours. Not a better world, a perfect one.